Today we're going to have an interesting conversation. There's some buzz
What
going
buzz?
around. The resignation of the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau.
Yes, he is resigning, but he hasn't stepped down yet. He will remain in power till near the end of March, 24th of March. So.
Are you surprised?
Well, not really. I'm surprised it took longer, but today we're going to have a discussion on what the differences are in the political system between here and Canada.
Which are quite different.
Yeah.
So welcome to our channel,
Life with the
Jacksons. So, it's been about 2 years since we've moved here. And one of the reasons that we moved here was the political platform and landscape has changed in Canada in the last, 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Been going on for a while, but seems to be worse in the last few years for sure.
So, it was one of our decisions, and now, hopefully there'll be some change. The systems between the U.S. and Canada are so different.
Yeah, they are different. Like, for example, Trudeau resigning in Canada does not trigger anything really. No national election, nothing. Where if a U.S. president resigned or stepped down, then the Constitution would kick in and put the vice president as the leader of the country.
The flexibility in Canada's political system seems to be simplified. It allows the leadership to change without disrupting the government, which I don't know. It just seems like I don't know, the voters really don't, they're not actually voting the leader in, which I don't know if it's great.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think it's worth discussing, and that's what we're going to chat about today.
Between you and I will complain here and there or make comments, but you always are reading, listening, and coming and informing me what's going on. So this is your baby.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. No, I've always followed the politics, and I kind of let Brenda know when things are happening and whatnot. So it's definitely different. In Canada, they have what's called a parliamentary democracy, where you don't actually, as a voter, you do not get the option of voting for your prime minister. You vote for your local MP, which is known as a member of parliament. During election night, and whichever party gets the most elected MPs during that night, that party will form the government, and whoever is the leader of the party at that time will become the prime minister. And in this case, it's Justin Trudeau right now.
Sometimes I don't think it's fair.
No, well, unfortunately, that's just the way the system is in Canada.
I'm sure many people are shaking their heads, both American and Canadians, of how our system works, whether it's fair or not in Canada versus what it is in the U.S. In fact, there's many Canadians that are living in Canada that don't understand the politics behind what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. So maybe shed some light on the U.S. political system.
Yeah, I'll definitely try. So in the States, again, the voters, when they go up to the ballot, they get to choose who they want to lead the country, as well as the vice president, plus all their other local nominees. In the U.S., they have fixed terms. 4 years is the term. A president can serve a maximum of 2 terms, so 8 years total. If a president resigns or is impeached and has to step down, then the Constitution takes over and the vice president will be instilled as the new country.
Versus in Canada.
Yeah, in Canada, Trudeau stepping down, his party elects in essence, will be the new prime minister until there's a general election called.
There's no vice prime minister.
No.
So systems are totally different. Actually, do you remember Kim Campbell?
Yes.
So she stepped in as a prime minister
in the same fashion as what's going to happen here in the next couple months.
Yeah.
But I think she only survived 2 or 3 months, and then the House got back to work, and they voted the government at the time, which I think was a conservative government. They voted no confidence, and then it collapsed the government, and then the Governor General sends everybody to the polls for an election campaign.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I'd really like to hear, people's comments. I'm just curious to see what system you think is better.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm becoming biased now living in the US about how both systems work. I know the population is different, but it'd be interesting to hear in the comments what, what the difference or what you prefer, or shed some light on this to educate people. So you know, when you're going to vote, that maybe people can understand this in a more simplistic way.
Yeah. Well, it's not easy to understand unless you're a political scholar. It's pretty tough to understand sometimes.
And sometimes so when you think about it, like, why did Trudeau resign?
Well, I think his popularity was going down.
You think?
Yeah.
I think last time I read it was 16%.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You know, where he was third from the Conservative Party and the NDP, the New Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the confidence is not there.
No, well, and he's had lots of inside his party, internal dissent within the party. A lot of his ministers have openly criticized him in the media, asking him to resign. Just recently, he had his deputy prime minister and the finance minister resign, which basically are the highest posts in his government other than him. So
right before, you know, the big announcements to happen about what they're going to do about these tariffs.
Yeah, the incoming U.S. administration threatening to add 25% tariffs to both U.S. Mexico and Canada. So
yeah, you know, it's just everything's just chaos. Now you're in a situation where there's a new president coming in, new administration. Their discussion about the 25% tariffs that are happening because, you know, rightfully so, they want to make sure that there's safety within the borders. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And to clean things up. But what's happening with the government right now? If he's resigning?
Yeah, well, right now they've done what is called the prorogued government. So basically shut down the legislative part of government. So the government itself will still function. All the workers are come to work, you know, when you're in health or the border or whatever, they're still going to work, doing their thing. But the politicians themselves are the ones that they're not sitting in the House. They're not passing legislation. They're not talking about, at least, you know, we don't see them talking about it physically until there's a new Liberal leader.
Maybe behind closed doors. In the meantime, the taxpayers' money is paying their paychecks. They're getting their pensions still, regardless what they do. So I hope they come up with some kind of resolution and solution to help the Canadian people. We still have family and friends there that we're concerned about, and Canada being one of the highest taxed countries in the world, you know, how are they going to afford things when they find it tough already? The young people and the seniors can hardly, you know, pinch pennies together. You know, actually, the pennies are no longer in Canada, but you know what I mean. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the economy is not doing well. You know, you throw in the fluctuation of the Canadian dollar when you're importing goods and stuff like that. So it's not. People are not happy in Canada right now, and they need a change.
No, I mean, the currency doesn't do us. I mean, for some sectors, when the currency is not great and strong in Canada, it's you know, it's good for some sectors, but it definitely is not good for, you know, for the consumer. Yeah. So, or people that have investments or income coming from Canada and or elsewhere, you know, the exchange is one of the biggest risks. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do hope there will be an upcoming election because I think the country needs it. New leadership is warranted and it's desperately needed in Canada right now. And whoever does get elected, hopefully they bring some sanity and some normalcy back to the country and focus on the things that truly matter to the taxpayers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, that wraps it up today, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe and please comment on our channel.
We look forward to connecting with you. Let this life be your best life.
Take care. Talk to you later.